to become an actor? Or you think that Hollywood made you a heavy, but you didn't necessarily plan to be a heavy, correct?
I did not plan to be a heavy. I love horror movies, and I've always loved them. I've always loved science fiction. I've always loved Trek. I've always been into these.
Trekkie.
Oh, I'm a huge, huge Trekkie. Don't even get me started. Don't get me started talking about the
You had
captains.
the ears in high school, did you?
Yes, I did.
Ears?
Yes, I still have the ears. I was the ultimate freak. I had the wardrobe, the whole thing. You know?
You were on the show.
No, I've not done Star Trek.
Oh, you didn't?
I've not done Star Trek.
Wow.
Shout out! I'd love to do Star Trek.
All right.
I'd love to do one of the films. What was your question? Oh, I didn't start it to be a heavy, but I've always loved horror, and I found a home in the genre, and it's really great. The 14-year-old kid in me is very excited by that, because when I was a kid, I was hanging up the posters of the Wolfman and Freddy and everybody on the wall. If you'd have told me then, people will one day be thinking of you in those same general terms, that's my dream. My dream is one day for a kid to have a poster of a character I've done on the wall, and for the mom to come in and say, "Get that thing off of your wall right now, young man." That would excite me, because that's what my mom did.
Will they want to do that with the chair, you think?
Perhaps the warden in the chair, as Peter Simeti wrote him, and as he's written in the script adaptation, he's a pretty vile character. He's beyond sadistic. And, but see, again, with the story behind it, this brings up the interesting question: how do we think of those who are incarcerated? Because for generations and generations, the purpose of incarceration was not rehabilitation, it was punishment. So the more punishment, the better. And this is a throwback to that kind of feeling. And there's some visceral satisfaction to a person who's done a very, very bad thing to say, throw him in the hole. I don't give a damn what happens to him. I don't care what they do to him in there. There's some great thing in our brain that goes, yeah, that's good. And that's our sense of revenge. So is prison an outlet for societal revenge? Are we supposed to be rehabilitating these people? It's a real question. I think the warden would not fall on the side of rehabilitation.
This is a tough question, and you don't have to answer because it's so personal, but do you believe in the death penalty? Or is that something, do you believe in the death penalty?
I do believe in the death penalty.
I do too, by the way.
And I think the reason that I believe in that is because of my personal faith. I'm a follower of Jesus, and there's a verse in Scripture that says the wages of sin is death. And it is always something dies, and it may be physical, it may be emotional, it may be spiritual, something dies, and that's carried forth. And I think that there are some crimes that are so heinous that the only possible way to pay for them is to lose your existence. And as I say that, it makes me wonder, do I really mean that? I think I do, but then again, I've never been accused unfairly.
That's the story.
What if you are in prison to die and you didn't do the thing?
Well, that's the argument about.
Sure it is. Yeah, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong, and I reserve the right to be radically, horribly wrong. I'm glad I'm not in charge of anything real.
Well, one of the things about the death penalty, just recently there was a terrible botched, what do you call it, chemicals.
Yes.
Because you're not allowed to be a doctor. A real doctor can't administer those shots.
Yes.
Because it's against his Hippocratic oath.
Yes.
So they wind up getting people that are not doctors, and it's quite terrible. So it's also the mechanics of death. Is the chair, is it a perfect way to kill?
Well, and this is a good question for people who might want to support the movie. Look into the history of the electric chair, because I'm old enough to remember it. In my home state of South Carolina, it was the method of execution. Mm-hmm. That's what they used to say. You do that and they'll take you to the electric chair. Look it up. Sure. There are actually videos and photographs of this thing, and it was designed to be a humane way of death. And now I've heard people now advocating hanging, or
there's something wrong with all of them.
The firing squad, because they're quick. Probably the firing squad. If I had to die, I would choose the firing squad, because I know that if it's a bunch of guys aiming, one of them's going to hit my heart and it's going to be over quick. I sure wouldn't choose lethal injection. I damn sure wouldn't choose that.
Well, I believe with a firing squad, there's only one is it one doesn't have? One has an empty chamber, so you can always think that you were the one that.
I think that's right. Everyone else is firing except one guy, and you don't know if you were the guy. So you have that out that you didn't do it. But if you're pulling the switch on the electric chair, you know that you did it. You know it.
Do you have a preparation process for something like the warden in the chair? How do you prepare for a role? This is generally not just for that, but what do you do to prepare? What is your actor's process?
You know, I think it's pretentious for an actor to talk about their process because in essence you're pretending. And you're doing the same thing that you did when you were a kid. Hey, let's play you're the prisoner and I'm the warden. To me, and this is going to make me sound extremely unsophisticated, I do not worry about backstory. I do not spend days and pages thinking about the person. I just want to feel what they're feeling in that moment, and if I can feel that and be it, it'll be real. And the greatest compliment you can ever get is for people to say, that's not an actor, that sumbitch is crazy. And I've done a couple movies where I was criticized in the reviews by saying there's obviously something wrong with this man because I was playing crazy people. And I thought, yes, I don't think there's anything radically wrong with me. But if you become a thing and there's no artifice, you simply become it, just the way you do when you're a kid, then people will believe it and they're not seeing the acting and they don't see any process and they're freaked out. And I like to freak people out. I don't know why, but I do.
Do you think you grew up with a normal family, a little crazy family? Is any of that influence, either becoming an actor or how you are portrayed? Do you think there's some of your past led to that?
Oh, any actor who's telling you the truth will tell you that their childhood was wounded. But then whose childhood is not wounded? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I used to think, oh, I'm special, because I was fat and I had acne scars. And yeah, I was fat and I had acne. I couldn't throw a football. I knew all the answers in Sunday school. I was the fat kid, ugly kid, smart kid, and sissy kid, all in one kid. And so, my woundedness is special. But, kids picked on me. Big deal. Big deal. What are you going to do? So, yeah, I do draw from my childhood, but everybody had a wounded, crappy childhood somewhere back in there. My family was pretty average, not too rich, not too poor. And were we dysfunctional? Yeah, but what family is not? I remember my dad saying to my mother, my mom would, he'd eat dinner and she'd say, well, did you like it? He'd say, I ate it, didn't I? I think that's it's pretty typical of the era in which I was raised. People were not very effusive. There weren't a lot of hugs going around. We were never told that we were special, and you did not win a trophy just because you showed up. So maybe it was a little tougher environment, and that's made me a little less tolerant of touchy-feely. I don't get much into touchy-feely. If I meet someone and I reach out my hand, which is what I was taught to do, to shake a man's hand and look him in the eyes, and instead I get, come on, and I've just met them, everything in me goes, whoop, 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 red alert, red alert.
Let me ask you about another project because we're covering it in our issue.
Yes.
Which is Circus of the Dead.
Yes.
Tell us about Circus of the Dead. I believe you play a clown. But tell us a little bit about that project.
Circus of the Dead is the most brutal script I ever read. And when I read it, I thought, okay, they're not...
Every time you say this, I hear sirens.
It's odd.
They're coming for you.
But it's true. It's the most brutal thing I've ever read. And when I read it, I thought, there's no way they're not going to film this. They're not going to do this. There were these shocking things. I thought they're not going to do this. And then I get on set, and the sumbitch is going to do all of them. And I'm playing a necrophiliac clown. In that situation, you can either surrender to the darkness, or you can just say, I'm going to try to retain some shred of good in this character. Surrender, baby. I play Papa Corn. He's a necrophiliac, homicidal, serial rapist whose day job happens to be as a clown. There is no good in him. He enjoys playing with people, and he does it just because he can. And he is horribly, horribly sadistic. His one redeeming feature is that he's got this little curl coming out of his cowl, and it's really cute. He's a bad clown, and he's got a posse of bad clowns, and they're doing bad things. It's over the top.
What makes it even creepier is that you have someone like John Wayne Gacy, who was a serial killer clown.
Yeah.
So it's rooted in some sort of reality, and I think that adds something to it.
And the Gacy quote from John Wayne Gacy, "A clown can get away with murder," is at the beginning of this movie. The director, Billy Pond, was really into that idea, so he had us be, our characters are real circus clowns. We really do put on skits. We really, in this old big tent circus, and we go to these towns and people laugh at us and they think we're innocent and harmless, and then we invite them into our world, and that's where our fun begins.
Now, so this is the gory movie. This is people being hacked.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Very, very explicitly brutal.
Did you carry some of that home with you at night? I mean, is it hard to shake it off?
Especially when you shoot all night, it's hard to shake it off. I remember going back to the hotel many mornings, like at 6 a.m., and seeing everybody, the breakfast bar opening up and everybody with their kids. And it just feels weird when the night before you were ripping a living fetus out of a woman and slamming it to the pavement, or pulling a guy's face off with pliers. You know? Yeah, sometimes the darkness does get to you, particularly when you're filming at night.
Was it mostly night shoots?
Yeah, mostly night shoots, which I love. Too many horror films now, because of budget, will film in the daytime. And I know there's something to the daylight, you know, the demon in the daylight, but I like atmosphere in the dark. It costs more money to shoot in the dark, but Billy Pond was willing to do it. I think Circus of the Dead is going to be a disturbing movie, and that's just what he wants it to be.
Would it make a good double feature with The Chair?
Yes, The Chair and Circus of the Dead would make a great double feature. That's a really good idea. So that's even more reason to donate to The Chair and help us get this movie made. Circus of the Dead is already made, and we can put them together. Hi, my name is Bill Oberst Jr., and I am attached to play the sadistic warden in Peter Simeti's The Chair. It's an adaptation of his graphic novel. I encourage you to go now to the Kickstarter page for The Chair, look at the project, look at Peter Simeti's novel, look at the cast, and if you're a fan of this genre, you'll want to donate. I invite you to do the same. Help us get this movie made. I promise that you'll like it. We'll horrify you.